Hey there, it's Missy. Welcome to my channel and welcome to another 5 Book Friday. Today I'm sharing 5 favorite middle grade books. Now I chose these specifically for middle grade March because I have lots of favorite middle grade books. I could probably do tons of videos on middle grade books because first of all, I was a school teacher and I read a lot of children's books. When I was in college, I remember one semester in college I had to read 100 children's books in different genres and talk about them and tell, you had certain categories and themes. So I have read a lot of children's books, and I also read a lot of children's books as a child, and I have 2 children, and so the boys had lots of books come along as they were growing up. So I love middle grade books, and so middle grade March is an exciting time for me because even though I'm an adult, I value middle grade books and I find a lot of joy in reading those books. There are some fantastic children's book authors, and so if you want a great book, go to the middle grade section because they have some fantastic selections. Anyway, for this one though, because of the prompts, I looked at the prompts for middle grade March, and I thought about a couple of those prompts are 5 words or more in the title and a book older than you. And so I chose books that were from my childhood. So 2 of the books actually were published the year I was born, and the others are older than me. So that would work probably for you because you're probably younger than me anyway. So probably all of these would work for you. And then 5 words in the title. So every one of the books I'm going to share could fulfill those 2 prompts. 5 or more words in the title or older than you if you are younger than I am. So here we go. The first one on the list was my favorite book as a child, and that was Tales of a Fourth Grade Nothing. This was my favorite book for a very long time, and I read it in 4th grade. It's by Judy Blume, and it's about a little boy named Peter and his family, and he has a little brother that they call Fudge, and Fudge just gets in the way. He's the typical little baby brother, and it's just a delightful read. It's about family life and all the little scrapes that you get into when you're in 4th grade. And I was in 4th grade when I read it, so of course it was just perfect for me. I fell in love with this book, and I don't know how many times I've read it. So I love this one by Judy Blume. And again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 words in the title, so that would fulfill that. And this was published in 1972. Another one by Judy Blume that I loved as a child is otherwise known as Sheila the Great. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 words in the title by Judy Blume. This was also published in 1972 as well. This one is about Sheila, who is Peter's friend actually. And in this one, Sheila goes away for the summer, and Sheila tries to be this overconfident girl. You think she's this confident girl and that she's, sure of herself. But in reality, she has a lot of fears. She fears dogs. She fears water. There's a lot of things that she's afraid of, but she doesn't want people to know it. And so she goes away for the summer, and the house where she's staying, they have a dog. And then they enlist her in swimming lessons. And so there's all kinds of things that happen where she kind of has to overcome her fears and learn to just be herself and be honest with herself. And so I really enjoyed this one. This was a lot of fun too. And again, I loved Judy Blume. I always say this, I was a Judy Blume and Beverly Cleary girl. And so these are some that were some of my favorites when I became a reader. So I love those. Another one that I loved as a child was the Nancy Drew Mysteries. This one is the first one, The Secret of the Old Clock. So 5 or more words in the title. And this was published in 1930. So this one goes way back. And I'm sure that a lot of these books were published way before my time, so they're older than me. But this one is just representing the whole series because I love Nancy Drew as a kid. I loved it because of the mystery, the clues. I love Nancy. I always, imagine myself being a teenage girl, solving these clues and solving these crimes and following the clues. And I also loved it because it was predictable. I know that a lot of people don't like predictable books, but when you're first starting to read, you need those predictable stories. It's good to have a child read, when they're first reading, to read in a series where there's familiar characters and a little bit of predictable things that are going to happen. You know, certain characters do certain things, because it makes it easier for them as they're learning to read. So for me, the predictable part helped me as a reader. So I really enjoyed The Secret of the Old Clock by Nancy Drew and all the Nancy Drew books. Now, I haven't read these in many years, and the last time I tried to read one, I had to laugh at myself for the way this is written. I mean, really. But it's fun to go back and revisit those old ones from our childhood. Now, this one actually was a Newbery Award winner, and it was published in 1929, and that is Hitty, Her First 100 Years. So there's 5 words in this title. It's by Rachel Field. This one I don't hear a lot about, but I really like this story because it's about a doll named Hitty, and it is about her first 100 years. It starts when Hitty is carved into a doll, and her first owner, a little girl that owns her as a doll in the 1800s. And it goes through as Hitty is, I won't say too much about it, but as Hitty lives her adventure for 100 years. I liked it because it brought in a lot of things that were happening during that time in history in America during the 1800s. So I like that part of it. I mean, it doesn't focus on that, but there's hints of that as she travels and has her adventure. So Hitty, Her First 100 Years. I do recommend this. It does have 5 words in the title. It's probably older than you, and it also is a Newbery Award winner. So if you're trying to read the Newbery Award winners, this one would be a good one to choose. And then finally, my 5th book for 5 Book Friday, my favorite middle grades, is Charlie and the Chocolate Factory by Roald Dahl. Now, this was first published in 1964. And who doesn't love Charlie? I'm sure you already know this story, but it's about a little boy named Charlie who finds a golden ticket and is able to visit Willy Wonka's chocolate factory. And it's a fantasy. Roald Dahl is one of my favorite writers for children. I read all of his books. I love them. I even read his adult work because I think he's such a genius storyteller, and so I enjoy his. I also have this copy. This one was came out in the 70s, and it has different illustrations. Now, I don't like it as much because for me, Quentin Blake is the person who should illustrate those stories, but this has line drawings in it. And I just thought, wow, that was so different, totally different feel when I read it in this book as opposed to one illustrated by Quentin Blake. So I thought that was interesting. And I'd never done that before, but I saw this at a secondhand bookstore and I read it that way. But I will say, Quentin Blake is the illustrator for me. So that's what I am accustomed to, and I enjoy his drawings, his illustrations for those books. So those are 5 middle grade books with 5 words or more in the title, and books that may be older than you are, so that would be 2 prompts to fulfill for Middle Grade March. Have you read any of these books? What were your childhood favorite middle grade books? Let me know that in the comments. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you soon.